Okay, so you're going to need one 4.5 by 8 flap and one pocket flap. And it looks like the pocket flap is going to go over on the right hand side, but I'm going to test it real quick. And yes, that's what I planned. So I can't leave both of them exposed, so I'm going to make sure she's exposed, and it's going to look like that. So the pocket flap to the right, the base flap to the left. I'm going to sit down. Okay, now I'm going to look at this and see if and see, as you can see, there's quite a bit of black here on the bottom. So there's a couple things you could do. What I'm doing is I'm trimming it down so that it this cut apart fits on top better. The other thing you could do is add a strip of decorative paper just to the very bottom. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten this pocket. So it's already glued shut and it's already the right height I want made to look like that. So that's already in the right spot. I just want to shorten the bottom a little bit. So I'm going to try to trim off a little, make sure I don't open my pocket up in the process. Let me see how that fits. If it fits better, it's a little bit better. I'm checking and my pocket is still closed, but I still think I want to take a little bit more off. Let's see. And actually that opened my pocket up, so I'm gonna have to put another bead of glue down here. And then as soon as it's dry, I'm going to slip my month cut apart in here and make sure it still fits right. So I'll give that a second. But I'm not going to lay it down until it's until I've tested it and it's dry. But we can go ahead and lay this in. So this is going to go here. This is going to go here. Well, that didn't go in very straight at all. Sorry, that didn't go in straight. Something's not square, so I'm going to check that real quick. So the pocket page is square, so maybe it's the flap. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. My flap was not quite square, so I squared it off. Okay, so that's done. This should be dry, so let's test it. And it's stopping right where I want it, so that's perfect. And it looks like I trimmed off enough that this looks centered, and it does, so I'm happy with that. So even though the pockets are consistent, page to page to page, the complexity comes in with all these little detail trims that you have to do. And it's for that reason that I didn't want you to completely construct and finish these before you pull in each individual month. It just makes more sense that way. I think you'll be happier with the result. But that's, like I said, the pockets and flaps are pretty straightforward. The complexity comes in the sort of installation process itself. Okay. Okay, that's in. Let's go ahead and get this applied. I need to clean my glue cap. It's starting to dry out on me. Yeah, it's closing up on me. I might have to take a break and clean my tip. Okay. All right. So we can go ahead and put our line here for we know our magnet needs to be on the other side of that. Below this and on the other side. So it's going to go, or I'm sorry. Got that wrong. That's not right. Ignore that. We still have to figure out this placement. Okay, so how do we want this to look? Okay, let's go ahead and get this on the back of this card. Sorry, cloud just came in. I'm gonna have to fix my lighting. Okay, I just want to make sure this is the side that's going to be tucked under, which means this decorative strip needs to go right here. Okay, that's in. So now we can set that aside. We're going to pick a pattern. Pick a pattern for here. This is going to be the base, and I love this pattern. I think it's gorgeous. So there's the base. And then it's going to look like so. And I think I like this better. Yes, definitely. Sorry for the shadow. So we'll go ahead and get the yellow piece in, and then we're going to figure out the placement of this ephemera card so that we can get the magnets before we install the rest of the mats. So I am going to dry fit it real fast. It looks good. We need to ink it. Okay. So we want this. Like so, like so. I'm struggling. I don't know how much of this I want exposed. The alternative is that, and that's raising it really high. But I do think that's what I like. And that's why the placement of these really is a little bit of fussing around, looking where this lands on this image and trying to make a decision. So I think I am going to have that face exposed, which means this is going to be a lot higher up than some of the others, but that's fine. That is going to be perfectly fine. And the other thing I noticed as I'm looking at this is the image or the pattern is not perfectly square to the trim. So I have to make a decision about what I'm going to align this to. Am I going to align it to the edge of the flap, an equal distance all the way down, or am I going to line it up with the pattern? And so visually I'm trying to make a decision which one is going to draw my eye forward more. And I think I'm going to kind of split the difference. So I am following the pattern, but if I follow it completely, like so, I think you can see that it's drifting down slightly here. So it's a tough call. So here's what I'm happy with. So it's not quite following the pattern. It's very close, but it's very slightly off. So that's where I'm going to place this. And because it's not square, I'm going to go ahead and draw my corner in on the bottom too, because I know I can't just do a straight line. Okay, so that's in. So now that we know where this is going to land, I can draw my pencil mark because I know my magnet needs to be on the other side of this, okay? And below this, so I think this will be fine. There we go. Okay. So now we can go ahead and lay this in. Okay, now I notice I haven't inked it, so I'm going to do that real fast. Now, because the other one slipped on me, I'm going to hang on to this for a minute and not let it move around, because I don't want that to happen again. That was disappointing. And I'll fix it, I just don't know how yet. Okay, so that is, here's the plan. So I'm going to think about this for a second, because the alternative is to run with some pinks here. And a pink up there. I think I'll stick with yellow. Okay. gonna go ahead and adhere these two together. First, I'm gonna see if I can square this off. Yeah, okay. Doesn't look like it, so. Let's go ahead and get the trim piece out and see which one of these. Did I already pull it out? Yes, it's right here. Right here. I'm gonna go with the dark green. So I'm gonna adhere these together and then trim them out. Adhere, join them, I guess is a better word. Oops, that wasn't very straight, but that's okay. It's not, all it has to do is hold it together until I glue it in, until I trim it out. A little more. Okay, that looks good. Let's get some ink on it. Okay. Is that you coming to see me, Nala? Oops. Okay. Almost. We'll trim the other side and then we can lay this in. Oops, that's not a pencil. Okay, there we go. Let's get some ink on it and lay it down. And then we've got one more panel to cover. These poppies remind me of the Oz, the orange Oz poppies, which I really liked. Okay, so here's our last piece, and it definitely needs to be trimmed out. A little too big. And I can't see, so I'm going to put something in here. There we go. So I can see the edge. Okay. Okay, there's May, making good time. I'm just stashing all the goodies from May. Okay, on to June. Okay, so you need one flap and one pocket flap. And I've already glued it shut, and it goes on, again, on the left-hand side, because this is going to go in like so. You can see that her face is just slightly to the right of center. So it is going to go on the left. This is going to go on the right. So before we put it in, we're going to figure out how much we need to trim off the bottom. So again, I've closed it shut. And I think I'm going to take about 1/8 of an inch off the bottom. And that opened it up, so I'm going to have to close it again. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, we need to let that dry. And then we're going to test this to make sure the pocket is still the right depth. And while we're waiting for it to dry, we can go ahead and add this flap to the right hand side. Make sure our pockets are in the right place. They are. There we go. Okay, that should be dry. Art glitter glue dries pretty darn fast. So I'm going to slip this in and see if it's still coming to the right place, and it is. So what I found so far in testing these is it is turning out to be 4 5/8 with the thinnest line of glue. But again, if you're not using a precision tip, you may want to glue it and then continue to trim. But so far it's turning out that that's been the case, at least for all of mine. But I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you're using a precision tip and you're using a very, very fine line. And then when you glue it, I'm actually pushing away from the center, or away from, so here's the pocket side. So as I press the glue, I'm pressing it away so the glue's not traveling back upward. So just FYI, those are the techniques that I'm using. And it seems to be working pretty good. But your mileage may vary. Well, hello, Nala. She hasn't come to see me all day. She's in here now. Hey, sweetie. I'm sure you guys can hear her little necklace jingling. Okay, let's get this back in here. All right. The reason I lay these in, even though I'm not ready to glue it in, is it's helping me make a decision for which side I want to be facing up for this panel. So you don't have to do that, but I haven't decided. We're deciding this together, but by the time you watch it, you'll know which one I've chosen. Oops. The lid doesn't have ink on it. Do a little bit of housekeeping. Okay. Okay, so now we have a decision to make about which side is up and how far to place her. So I'm thinking she's going to be pretty far over to the outside, and I like that. Oops, this belongs in May, so I'll put that back there in a minute. And that's A. And that's B, and I like B. I like B. Okay, so let's dry fit it, make sure it's trimmed right, and it is. So now we're ready to just get some ink on it and lay it down. Okay, so this is, are we on June? We're on June, so we've done 6 of these together now, or this is number 6. I'm trying to decide if I need to do videos for the other 6 pages or if you guys can do that on your own by looking at the walkthrough. I'm going back and forth. I'm trying to decide that. Okay, so we've got that in. Okay, now the next thing is to set our markers for where we're going to put her, and then we can do our magnet placement. I am going to make a mess. Everything fell. Oh my goodness. Okay, pick up a couple of scraps. I'm going to use my Tim Holtz ruler, which is very easy to find. We don't sell it, but it's very easy to find. And just make sure it's not drifting in or out. I mean, up or down. A lot of times I can just eyeball this stuff, but the longer I work, the more fatigued I get and the harder it is for me to see a straight line. So it's always nice to have, you know, a grid ruler that you can use to straighten things up if you need to. Okay, so as you can see, because she is to the right of the card, we know she's going to get installed on the right-hand flap, and it opens to the right. I'm going to trim out a piece to go right here. Let's see how this fits and what it's going to look like on the flip side. Okay, looks pretty good. So on this particular one in June did not have two ephemera cards out out of the Ephemera pack, Ephemera journaling pack. So this is actually a cut apart, and that's why there's nothing on the inside. So like I said, I think there's 8, 9, 10, no, 4 months that did not have matching ephemera cards. And I don't have the pack in here with me, but typically for each of the ephemeras, both the 4x6 and the 3x4s, you get 8, 2 images of 8 patterns. So that didn't go for the 12 months either. So there was two weird things about the collection. One, you didn't get 8 different patterns, 12 different patterns to go with the 12 image pack, and you also didn't get 12 images in the ephemera cards to match each one of the months. So it's a little different, but you do get the cut apart. It just means you have to find something to dress the inside with, and I haven't decided what that's going to be yet. I'm going to burnish this into place. Okay, so that's there. And I usually put the magnet in before I glue this down, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to be on the other side no matter what. So now that it's in, I can come across and go ahead and draw a line, and I know my magnet needs to be there. And then we can start dressing the inside. Okay, there we go. It's going to look like that. Now we're ready to go ahead and put this in. And again, that's one of the cut aparts. It's not an ephemera card because June did not have one. Very quiet in my house today. Oh, I think I like this. I think I'm going to do that and then flip this one over. Yep, that looks good to me. All right, looks like I need to trim this down. Right there. Let's check that again. I need a contrast here. Hey, Nala. Hey, sugar. Good girl. No, we don't need paper. Come here. Bring that back. Stop trying to sneak off with the paper. Okay, that's it. No, we don't need paper. Sorry about that, guys. Had to take a break. Nala's running off with paper. She takes after her mama. She loves her paper. Hey, what are you doing? All right. Find something interesting? Okay. All right. Okay, and as usual, we're going to attach these two and then trim them down. Like so. Okay. And then here's our last piece of trim. And then once we get this in, we're halfway through. Okay. There we go. So that is in. And there's June. And then of course our ephemera card. And we'll put something on the inside. I'll have to come back and do that during the embellishment phase. So you guys, and the reason I'm stalling is I'm not sure I even have a piece of paper big enough for that. Do I? Yes, I do. So let's go ahead and do that now. Since we're together, I think I'm going to use this to go on the inside. Yeah. So I'm going to leave one side black, and then I'm going to do this side with this coordinating red. Let's see how that looks. That looks good. Okay, let's get some ink on it and glue it down. That's June. Okay, so the next time we get back together, we will work on July. But that's all I'm going to do for today. I'm running out of light. I'll do some prep work. What I'm going to do for the remaining months is I'm going to go back and go ahead and join these pieces and add this so that time will go a little bit faster and we can get the last 6 pages in a little quicker. And I'll go ahead and add the strips to the back of the ephemera card. Just so it'll go a little faster. We've done it together for 6 pages. I think that's enough. You guys kind of have the pattern of what I'm doing, and so what you really need to focus on is which papers are going where and which side we're putting the hinged pocket on and which side is going to have the ephemera card. Okay, so that's it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This is Daphne from Scrap and Create, and this is June for Fashion Forward.